Well, listeners, here in our studio here today, I have His Excellency Luis Soboyama, the Peruvian Ambassador to Indonesia. And today we are going to discuss the two countries' progress, especially in their cooperation in economic, development, social, and culture. How are you, Mr. Luis?
Yeah, good morning. Good morning, everyone. And first of all, thank you for the invitation for the Radio Television Indonesia for this interview, especially in this week that my country is celebrating the National Independence Day.
Yeah, as we know that the Peru will celebrate or celebrating its Independence Day on July 28th. So I'd like to say congratulations for the government and the people of Peru. Yes, Ambassador Luis, so could you briefly tell us how the Peruvian people have served and carried out the traditions in celebrating Independence Day in Peru, especially, and what will you have here in Indonesia?
Yeah, thank you for that, for the congratulations. Yeah, we organized the National Day, as I think most of the countries, it's a holiday, 2 days holiday, 28, 29. On the personal level, is more the occasion for a familiar gathering, sharing some drinks like pisco sour, that's our national cocktail, and sharing also some of our national dishes. On the official level, the president of Peru normally make the presentation in the Congress, the yearly information to the Congress, to the nation in this case, in the Congress to the nation. And then the following day we have a military parade, the year military parade in one of the most prominent streets in Lima. At the same time, in the whole country, the local authorities organize diverse events, mostly cultural and musical, with the population to enjoy the day. So this is a mix of, as I said, familiar gathering plus official activities that we organize in the country.
And what will you have here in
In
Jakarta?
Indonesia, in this year, we will organize a photography exhibition of a very well-known Peruvian photographer. In this case, the photography exhibition is about the culture of Shipibo Conibo. Shipibo Conibo is one of the multiple ethnic groups that we have in Peru. In this case, they are located in the Amazonia, in the jungle. And interest to show this photography exhibition is because we want to go further of the traditional image that you may have about Peru, that is the Incas and Machu Picchu. Peru is more than Incas and Machu Picchu. In this case, for this year, this is a good opportunity for us, the Peru Embassy, the Peruvian Embassy here in Jakarta, to display different face of Peru, the history, the culture, the society.
So, if last year, while Indonesia celebrated its independence, the Indonesian embassy in Lima, Peru, had a nice performance, traditional Indonesian dance by the Peruvian people, dancers. So, is there any similar activities here in Jakarta during this celebration?
I think this was a good idea of your Indonesian ambassador in Lima, Ambassador Ricky. We are not trying to copy his idea. I think what we have done last year, because as ambassador, what I wanted is people-to-people contact. Last year, we, instead of organizing a party or a cocktail, we celebrate the National Day at the Cikini Library in Jakarta. We did a presentation of small ceramics that we call toritos, as bulls, painted in colorful way. And the bulls, cotoritos, are kind of representation of the mix of our cultural heritage of indigenous culture plus Spanish. You know, the bulls are not originally from America. The bulls have been brought by the Spaniards, the colonizers. And we, in that way, we reflect that we are the result of this mix of cultures. And it was a good opportunity for me as ambassador and the embassy also to donate books about Peru to Chiquini Library. I was very surprised that the libraries in Indonesia has not many books about my country. So I took that opportunity. I talked with the Chiquini staff, and I said we want to donate books. So we also make a celebration or activity donating books about Peru to the Chiquini Library.
Yeah, Ambassador Luis, cultural cooperation, you already mentioned that, and you are planning to donate some Peruvian books to the library in Chiquini. So how is now the two countries' cultural cooperation develop after decades of cooperations?
Yeah, I think let me go back a little. The bilateral relationship between Peru and Indonesia is pretty good. We have no issues of disagreement between both countries. We share same ideas in the multilateral arena, and the focus of our relationship, and I think of Indonesia also, is on economic matters. However, economic is not all about in a bilateral relationship. That's why I want to boost also the cultural relationship or cultural cooperation between both countries, and we have been working on that. I think Indonesian diplomats in Lima asked me, Peruvian diplomat in Jakarta. So we also have been working not only in Jakarta. We have established a good working relationship with Bandung institutions, Unpar University, Catholic University of Bandung, the Institute of Technology of Bandung, and some galleries in Bandung, because we want to go out of Jakarta. So this was, in logistics, for us, it's easy to move to Bandung. It's only 3 or 1 hour if you go by bush, but it's not that far for us. And our next stage is to try to expand this cultural presentation to Bali and Surabaya. Okay. This as first step. Maybe later we can go to Makassar, we can go to Medan, but it's moving out of Jakarta. Because Jakarta, of course, is the capital of Indonesia, is the most important center, economical, political, cultural center of Indonesia. But as an ambassador, I want the people of Indonesia to know my country, not only here, but in other parts of Indonesia.
Parts of Indonesia. Yeah. Okay. Talking about education, as you mentioned, with some universities or in Bandung, okay, maybe next Medan. So if I may know how many Indonesian students now are studying in the Peru, and Peruvian students are studying here in Jakarta or Indonesia? Yeah,
we have such kind of statistics of how many students of what countries study in each other one. But my case, I personally have established this contact with UNPAR. They are with the Catholic University of Peru. They are now negotiating an agreement, a cooperation agreement, academic cooperation agreement that will help to exchange not only students but also professors and researchers of both sides. One of the biggest problems or challenges in education is that not many people in Peru know very well about Southeast Asia, and especially Indonesia. Okay. And I think it happened the same in Indonesia. So I have this opportunity to have talks with the professor from UNPAR. They were very welcoming with this initiative and the idea to have this cooperation agreement with the Catholic University of Peru. Actually, I delivered a class about Peru. I have been invited to UNPAR, and then we have a gastronomy festival with the students of UNPAR in last month, I think. Yeah, and it was very good. The second thing is that besides UNPAR, Erlanga universities from Surabaya, they visited Peru in April. They established contacts with 3 or 4 universities in Lima and Cusco and Arequipa, I think, 3 cities of Peru, in order to establish also, negotiate also kind of agreement. And the third one is, while I was invited by Binus University here in Jakarta to talk about the market of Peru for Indonesian products, they also shared with me that they are in talks with Universidad del Pacífico, is one of the top business schools in Peru, in order to reach also a kind of educational cooperation. So as you see, for me, it's quite interesting that 3 universities or 4 universities from Indonesia are starting to establish a formal cooperation and dialogue with Peruvian universities.
Yeah, I hope it will make progress.
Yeah, for sure.
Yes. Ambassador Luis, as we know that Indonesia and Peru also already start conversation on their CEPA free trade. So what is the progress of this CEPA?
Thank you for that, because for me is the most important task that I have right now. I came here 2 years ago, 2.5 years ago, and with the idea and the responsibility to carry on this or facilitate the dialogue between the officials of Ministry of Trade of Peru and Ministry of Trade of Indonesia. The CEPA, or the Comprehensive Economic Partnership Agreement, is an instrument that we think both Peru and Indonesia will boost our bilateral trade relation and in the future investment. Why? The level of trade between both countries are still low. We have maybe 500 millions US dollars of exchange, positive for Indonesia, nearly 400 million, and 100 million for Peru. So the CEPA, I think, as I said, will help to boost the trade relationship and investment relationship. And we have started the negotiations on April this year. The first round, as you know, there are some rounds that both sides need to negotiate. And hopefully we will announce the conclusion of the negotiations or the signing of the negotiations during the APEC summit in November of this year. Why? I think it's not only about economics, it's also politics. The political message that we want to transmit is that Peru and Indonesia are going up in our deepening and strengthening our relationship. And this is something also important for the upcoming President Prabowo. I understand one of his first official overseas travel will be attending the APEC summit. I think for both sides it's a good opportunity if our authorities could sign or at least could announce the conclusion of the agreement. And as I said, that will be very, very good for both countries.
Okay. As you mentioned, there is only around 400 millions the trade balance between the 2 countries. So what is the number will be expected after the 2 countries CEPA or concluded or signed by the 2 countries in November this year?
You know, this is not only the work of the government or the public officials, me as an ambassador, but this also involves the participation of the private sector. We, the government, the state, we put the framework of what is the good of for a bilateral trade, and the framework was going to be the CEPA. Besides the CEPA, we are negotiating also phytosanitary certification, both sides, Peru and Indonesia. In our case, we want to put in the market blueberries and then mangoes, and maybe in the future other kind of fruits. And maybe Indonesia also trying to sell some of their products to Peru. But this is the framework. Now is the intervention of the private sector, the businessman, businesswoman. Last year we have business delegation from Peru, organized by the Exported Organization of Peru, and they came to Jakarta. And it was a small group, no more than 10 companies, because traveling from Peru to Indonesia is not that easy.
Yes.
But is the interest of the private sector that I want to underline. And they created a kind of a business network in Indonesia. And the result of that is that this year we have some companies repeating their visit to Peru, and we have assisted them to make a B2B business meetings here in Indonesia. What I want to say is the improvement or the growth of our bilateral relationship is not only what the state or the government can do, is also what the private sector or the private sector will take this opportunity to boost. So I think there is a lot of potential for both countries, and it gives me also to explain a little about INALAC, that is coming on September. INALAC is the Indonesia Latin American Caribbean Business Forum. It's organized by the Indonesia, and this is going to be for the very first time being held in overseas, abroad, and they choose, lucky us, they choose Peru this year. So INALAC is going to be held in Peru from 11 until 14th of September. Mm-hmm. So far, as my conversations with Ken Blue, with the Minister of Foreign Affairs, there are some companies, Indonesian companies, that will travel to Peru. Also people from Kadin, they will go to Peru. And I think this is also a good chance for both sides to get to know and to establish a business relationship for the future.
Okay. B2B contact, right? So you mentioned that Peru will sell its fruits to Indonesia. Maybe Indonesia will sell its products to Peru. So what sectors actually you see that have good potential for the two countries for this B2B?
Peru is, naturally speaking, is a mining exporter country. Copper, gold. We are one of the top exporters of copper, gold, silver, zinc, and other minerals that are very demanded in the world market. It explains also why China is our main trade partner. 90% of our export to China are minerals, and the investment of China in Peru are more focused also in those directly or indirectly related with minerals. But minerals is a commodity that has no add value at all. Yeah? So we want also to boost our exports that have add value, and in that we are very competitive in agro-industrial products, vegetables and fruits. We have become the biggest exporter of foods or agro-industrial products in the world. This is one of the areas that we want to work with Indonesia. Indonesia also has Indonesia has a variety of products, mineral, fruits, and so you even produce and export copper. So I think mineral is something that we are competing each other, but we can find opportunities with agro-industrial products. So this is one of the areas we want to work, and we use the term superfoods. Superfoods are the agro-industrial products like quinoa, different kinds that are very good for the health. Mm-hmm. So I mentioned that last year we have a visit of Peruvian businessmen. Most of them are focused on superfoods. And superfoods are the items that we want to sell export to Indonesia.
Okay. Yeah. Yes, Ambassador Luis, seems that there are still many things that we can discuss during this interview, but seems that we are very limited time. So during this momentum, so what do you want to say? What message you want to say to our listeners, even here in Indonesia or in Peru, especially for the Peru National Day this year?
Yeah, please join us to celebrate our National Day. Please join us in the activities that we are organizing as embassy here in Jakarta or in other cities of Indonesia, because it will help you to understand more about my country. We are a country with a very rich history, but we are a country also we look for the future. So, and I think in that sense, we share the same thing with Indonesia. Indonesia is also a country with a vast of a different kind of cultural expression, but at the same time, a country that, and I can see in Jakarta, is that you look to the future. I think both countries share the same perspective about the world.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for the invitation.
Well, listeners and viewers of Voice of Indonesia, that's my very interesting conversation with His Excellency Luis Tsobayama, the Peruvian ambassador to Indonesia, about the two countries' relationship, about Indonesia and Peru's cooperation. Indonesia and Peru can work together hand in hand to reach their future. I'm Dalla Pane. See you next time.